The government is hours away from shutting down, and it comes down to three things. The Democrats want to extend health care subsidies under the Affordable Care Act, protect Medicaid from new cuts, and block the President Trump, from cutting federal spending on his own without Congress's approval. Republicans, who control the House, the Senate, and the White House, have flat out rejected those demands. And because the Senate still requires 60 votes, Republicans can't just approve this on their own. So that's why we have a standoff. And the fallout to this standoff would be massive. The Department of Health and Human Services says that more than 32,000 employees, that's 41% of its staff, will be furloughed. And the CDC, the Centers of Disease Control, will lose nearly 2/3 of its workforce, crippling its ability to respond to opioid overdoses, HIV prevention, and other public health crises. The National Institutes of Health would furlough 75% of its people, stopping clinical trials and research. And, these are just a few of the departments that are under federal oversight. Trump says that it's all necessary.
Mr. President, as we inch closer to a government shutdown, this morning you said you might do a lot of layoffs. If DOGE is already reducing the federal workforce, why is it necessary to link more federal jobs cut to a shutdown?
Well, the Democrats want to shut it down, and so when you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and the Democrats, they're going to be Democrats. As you know, this country, no country can afford to pay for illegal immigration, health care for everybody that comes into the country, and that's what they're insisting. And obviously have an obligation to not accept that. That would affect everybody.
So yeah, Trump saying that those people who would be fired would be Democrats, which is crazy for a president to say. Like, we've gotten to this point where to be a Democrat is to be, something with the red mark on them. It's insane. Now, instead of bridging the gap, Trump blew it wider after initially agreeing to and then canceling a meeting with Democrat leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. He posted a racist AI deepfake video on Truth Social on his account, mocking the very people that he was supposed to be negotiating with.
Coded. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, at least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
Yes, again, that was posted by Donald, the President of the United States, Truth Social account. Can you
That's so sad, man. That is so sad. That is so sad.
We've gotten to this point.
That is sad, man. It's sad, and it's scary at the same time, man. That's sad and it's scary, man. At the same time. This is the country that we live in. This is who these people voted for.
Insanity.
It truly is, man.
If you have a word to describe this, let us know in the comments. We'll try to get it on the show, Dex.
I don't know what to say. Like, I really.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Did you hear the mariachi band playing in the background, and then they got Hakeem Jeffries and the
music, like the sombrero, like the actual speaking, like, because it's almost one of those things where it's like, does he think this is real? Then you realize, like, no, you don't think this is real. You thought this was funny. Like, you thought this was appropriate. And like, what's crazy to me is that, like, he's not going to be alone in this. He has supporters that are going to be like, yeah, what's the problem? What's wrong with that?
He's setting the edge so far in what's, like, quote unquote acceptable by someone in his position that it's going to become hard for someone to follow him. Like, you remember just for example, you remember how boring we used to talk about life was under the Biden administration and how there were no stories and all this stuff.
I'd like to go back.
Yes, right. But this, he's pushing it so far where, once again, second term in a row, that every day is a headline. Every day there's a story. It takes me an hour to do the show every day because this, so easy. We have all this.
It's weird too. It's weird too because like like last week I was like, oh, he's doing this stuff to distract from the Epstein files. I don't know if I believe that anymore. Now I think that you think that this is appropriate. Like you think that this stuff is normal because there's no way you think we need this much distraction from the Epstein files, and like you're making yourself look like an idiot.
I mean, but the Supreme Court keeps handing Trump wins. They let him freeze $4 billion in foreign aid that Congress had already approved. And that marks the 20th emergency request granted by the Supreme Court to his administration this year and his 13th in a row. He's won 13 straight Supreme Court cases, Donald Trump has. Suddenly. Insane. Legal scholars say that kind of streak is unprecedented and that it shifts power away from Congress and towards the presidency. And as Clarence Thomas, a justice of the Supreme Court, says, that the Supreme Court should take a more critical approach to things that are considered settled precedents, saying that the cited cases are, quote, not the gospel, and suggesting some may have been based on, quote, something somebody dreamt up and others went along with. So just because the Supreme Court, he's saying, has ruled something one way in the past does not mean that it's not reopened for a reinterpretation down the line. So everything's on the table, guys.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I just don't know if he understands how dangerous that is. Because, for him, potentially, you're talking about, I don't know all the cases that have been tried in front of the Supreme Court, but maybe you're talking about something low level, right? But like when you think about the history of the Supreme Court, there's everything in there from marriage equality to gender equality to racism. So it's like you got to be careful with it because
I think you're naive in thinking that he's being not careful. I think he knows exactly.
Well, he's married to a white woman, so I would assume that you're not talking about them overturning interracial marriages. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, there's certain things that it's just like I'm assuming that's not what you're talking about, but like, you're right, and you know what they say when you assume, especially when it comes to somebody like Clarence Thomas.
Yeah.
To be totally honest with you, Dex, is anything off the table at this point when dealing with Donald Trump? I mean, nobody's safe. If you think
I see,
no one is.
Well, there is a few people that are safe. There's some people that are safe, and they look like him. So
but I guess my question is, though, we were talking about the Epstein and we were kind of getting our hopes up when he disappeared for 4 days and, and all this stuff that we thought might happen to him, before now. But it just seems like despite everything, same thing is happening. Like he's Teflon. And do you think he's kind of reached a point now where he's too big to fail and, outside of his own, self-destruction or whatever that might be, is America kind of linked to whatever he wants it to be at this point?
Let me just go on record by saying I was not excited for during those 4 days. I was not one of those people that is, don't put that on me. But I do think that, and I don't have an issue like how he's moving and how he's having things being done. I like it. I don't support any of it, to be honest with you, but I do like seeing someone in like the president in power and actually utilize it. And I wish that Democrats did this as well, because I always go back to the student loan thing.
But Biden did, Dex. Like, just because it wasn't like
not like this,
braggadocious,
not like this,
and
not even in a braggadocious.
The Biden presidency was one of the most accomplished as far as policy-wise presidencies in American history.
But I'm saying like if Donald Trump, like real life thing, if Donald Trump was like, I want student loans to go away, like they're gonna go away immediately. It's gonna happen. Joe Biden said it, and I'm not saying he didn't accomplish anything, but Joe Biden said it, and I feel like people were like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna fight you on that. And like nobody's fighting Donald Trump on anything. Nobody. Everybody's afraid. And I feel like Democrats need to rule like the same way. Like show people like, I'm not afraid either. I'm not going to try to go reach across the aisle and all that BS they be talking. Like, I'm going to run this thing like a dictator like he did and see how y'all like it. Otherwise, like, what's the point of you'll never get another vote if you continue to just keep trying to reach across the aisle and aim high and all that BS. Like, that's done.
Eric, what you think?
Man, I mean, this is
Is he Teflon? You think he's Teflon?
year one.
I mean,
I mean, this is year one.
Is he Teflon?
Year one. I mean, this is I I really can't say what I really want to say, but it's just like it's bad, man. This is year one. Can you imagine what year 3 and 4 is going to look like under this administration?
Yeah, it's
Like
scary
Or
already.
this is
5 or 6
this
or
is
7,
this is
8.
this is scary. This is really scary out here, man. This is really getting scary.